There was something oh so familiar about Bo Dallas, and I'm here to talk about it. Bo Dallas, this past Monday on WWE Raw, was called out by Chad Gable. It turns out it was a setup, and he was attacked by seemingly the new Alpha Academy in the Creed brothers. And I can't imagine Ivy Nile being too far behind in this new conglomeration of the Alpha Academy, if you will. But Bo Dallas received a beating by the three men, the Creed brothers and Chad Gable. And in the whole beatdown, there was a sinister, sadistic laugh coming from Bo Dallas, and it reminded me so much of Bray Wyatt for obvious reasons, but it was done intentionally to show that Bo Dallas is not one to be messed with. The beating that you put on him, it's not gonna matter. And another thing to note is that these guys, seemingly the Wyatt Six, are not going to be heels. They are being positioned to be cheered by the audience, seemingly because of the spirit of Bray Wyatt and what he entailed on his way out. This is a continuation of that, and they're not going the dark, sadistic route with this story. I mean, obviously, there are some issues that Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Six are grieving over. They're dealing with it, and this is their way of healing. This is their way of dealing with it. And Chad Gable is a good first victim for them, if you will, for lack of a better term, because we don't know if he's going to be a victim, but we sure know that the Wyatt Six are targeting Chad Gable, the Creed brothers, and potentially Ivy Nile. Now, I will say, it wasn't Bray Wyatt that reminded me of what Bo Dallas was doing. First of all, Bo Dallas did a terrific job of selling. It was an amazing sell job. I mean, they were bouncing him around all over the place, and he was like a rag doll. It was very well done. I haven't seen Bo Dallas in a WWE ring in, I mean, I don't know how long it's been since I've seen him in front of the camera live. I remember last time I really saw him, me personally, was when he was with Kurt Hennig's son, Curtis Axel, and they were a tag team, and I'm trying to rack my head around it. I really can't remember the last time I saw him on WWE television in front of a live audience. So this was pretty phenomenal for his first time back, and he did a great job of establishing himself as someone completely different than anything that we've ever seen him from, because I've got the image of him running around saying, "I believe," and doing the little lap around the ring, and there was a mini wrestler, I think El Torito, I'm sorry if that's not his name, but he was wrestling, and Bo Dallas does the lap around and hip checks him and sends him flying to the ground. That image is living rent-free in my head since it's happened. I can't get that image out of my head. And from that point forward, I loved everything Bo Dallas did. I don't know why, but that is one of my favorite things I've ever seen, and it's stuck in my head all the time. So obviously that is not the Bo Dallas that we are seeing, that we just saw this past Monday on Raw. But I will say, it was not Bray Wyatt, but it was Raven. I know. How is Bo Dallas reminding me of Raven? Well, for a lot of reasons, but obviously this is a different character arc. This is like the upside down world of Raven. If Raven is the heel in this, and sure enough, we're going to get into it, he was a heel, a pretty messed up heel, then Bo Dallas is the other version. His version of healing from a disturbing past and from the things that have happened to him is going in a different direction than Raven, but very similar, if that makes sense. But let me break it down. There's a near 25-year character arc of Raven, and it is mind-blowing. In ECW, he was disgruntled, and he formed a general gathering or a following of wrestlers and fans that he brought with him for a cause that evolved into a cult. He was a master manipulator, and he had enough pull to the point where he brainwashed people. Obviously, there was Stevie Richards, there was Blue Meanie, there was Supernova, there was Lori Fullington, the Sandman's wife, there was Tyler Fullington, the Sandman's son, there was Kimono Wanalea. I think I'm getting all the. Oh, there was the Inchworm Rodman, Jason the Inchworm Rodman. I can't remember. He was the guy that was supposed to be like the Dennis Rodman of the BWO. He had so many guys, and then he went on to have heated rivalry with Tommy Dreamer, right? Where Tommy Dreamer was basically responsible for most of his angst from when he was a teenager, and they had been basically feuding since they were teenagers, and it was all over Beulah, and it was just this interesting story arc. It was pretty unique for the time period at that time. Then he goes to WCW, and this is not anything different. I love Eric Bischoff. This is not to diss Eric Bischoff in any way, but he had no idea, and he said this himself, no idea how to work with Raven. No idea. He didn't get the character. This was a Paul Heyman character that Eric Bischoff was just like, I don't know, dude. Raven could have been huge in WCW, but instead he was a caricature of an edgy 90s villain with a lot of henchmen, and they just kind of just went nowhere with it, you know, to be honest with you. I mean, he could have been a big-time player at that time. He was on the cover of WCW NWO Revenge. I think they missed out on MTV. He threw a stop sign on Diamond Dallas Page's head. That was an infamous scene for me as a kid. I was watching Total Request Live. Diamond Dallas Page is being interviewed, and all of a sudden Raven comes out of nowhere, smashes a stop sign over DDP's head, and the members of Foo Fighters were like tripping out. It was a crazy scene for me as a kid. I remember it very vividly. And yeah, there was Sick Boy, there was Kidman, there was Lodi, there was Saturn, there was Reese. This is all off the top of my head, so I know I'm going to forget somebody, and you guys are probably yelling at me like, I know, like telling me the guys' names. You say a Sick Boy, Kidman, Saturn, Reese, Lodi. Anyways, there was a lot of them, a lot of members at that time, and they just kept expanding. Riggs with the eye patch. Yeah, there's so many, and it just never went anywhere, you know? And then in WWE, I felt like the same thing happened. It was Vince McMahon going like, I don't know what to do with you, God damn it. And then just made him a hardcore guy. Just give him a shopping cart full of weapons and have him go out and feud. Then in Ring of Honor, he was this broken down older man whose vices had caught up to him, and he was fighting to overcome his demons on a road to redemption for the fans that still cared about him. And he ran into CM Punk, who was the sober guy that saw his father in the image of Raven, and it was a huge story arc. I felt like if this was a movie, this was like a retelling or a true sequel to ECW. So it was like as if WCW and WWF never existed, and then it was just ECW and then Ring of Honor, and it was a great bridge to that. So if you just watch Raven in ECW and then follow it up with Raven in Ring of Honor, it picked up right where it left off, and it was very well done. Then he went to TNA and Impact, and he was a disgruntled, older, wiser man fighting for one thing that had eluded him after all these years, the glory of being a major world heavyweight champion. It's such a weird character development for Raven, but in a way, you just love to see it. And so I say all that to say that I see a lot of that in Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas being this cult leader, but for different reasons than for Raven. Instead of being disgruntled or instead of being troubled in a way where he needed help, Bo Dallas is troubled, but he is getting the help through other troubled souls, and in an attempt to heal, he is going after those that remind him of why family is so important and why you shouldn't F with your family. And so anybody that's doing that, it's seemingly going to become a target. So it's very heroic, it's very vengeful, it's very Batman. You know, I mean, so if Raven is the Joker, then Bo Dallas would be this different Batman character, but they come from the same universe. And so I really hope they go in this direction with Bo Dallas, because I really think it would be interesting, because they've already grounded him in a certain sense of realism. He's not the Uncle Howdy that was being portrayed during the Bray Wyatt return. This is now what we're seeing, a real human being behind the mask that's letting you know that all of this is to show you my pain. All of the pageantry, all of the dry ice, all of that stuff is to show you my pain. And I'm going after those that remind me of pain, that remind me of why family is so close. And those that are taking advantage of family, I'm coming to get you. It's very cool. It's a very good idea, and I hope they go with it. I hope they continue with it. And so, yeah, I just kind of thought I would bring that up because I did have this thought of Raven for some reason, and not for the reasons that you would think. Like, I don't think he's going in that way, in the way of Raven, but I think their trajectories are similar. Just one's doing it for one reason, the other's doing it for another. Whether good or bad is up to interpretation and perspective, but I feel like Bo Dallas is doing a good job of portraying this cult leader that is doing things for a different reason than a lot of other cult leaders would do it, like someone like Raven. So what do you guys think? Am I right at all in that comparison? Obviously, I don't think he's going to be wearing jean jackets, DDTing people, and wearing shirts around his waist anytime soon. But when he said, "There you are," it really reminded me of QOUTH, the Raven, Nevermore. And I don't know why, but it's so interesting to me. But what do you guys think? You guys let me know in the comments. Thank you all for subscribing thus far. I can't do this without you guys. We're expanding the community all the time. It's getting bigger and bigger. And we're even on Patreon now. So at the Wrestling Old Head on Patreon, the link is in the description below. And there's actually an exclusive video there that is free to all viewers. I'm not charging anybody to see this, but it is something that I've been wanting to do and put together more. It is the promo portal, the debut episode of the promo portal, where I talk about a couple of promos that really hit me as a kid and that I look to for inspiration. They're great promos. They're one of the reasons why I like professional wrestling is because of the promos. And so I just give you a couple of examples of the reasons why. And so I thought I'd share that with you all. I obviously can't put it up on YouTube. They're a little strict as far as like putting up clips and stuff like that. They'll take my channel down, or they'll take the video down and all that. So I thought I'd put it up on Patreon for all to see, just to get an idea of where my head is at with promos and why I like them and all that stuff. So hopefully it goes well and I can get more of them out to you guys through Patreon or through other services. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to sneak one through YouTube. But for now, it's available on Patreon. Go check it out if you get the chance. Thumbs up on the way out, you guys, and I'll see you real soon.